time for our next session, which we've titled Distributed Generation on Your Own. Now, Gunderson Lutheran is not the only company out there that incorporates sustainability into its mission and sees in energy a big area in which to make a statement there. We're joined by three representatives of companies and organizations who have done similar things. Now, in so doing, Jeff referred to the bleeding edge. This is not plug and play what other companies are doing or counties. There's a fair amount of improvisation, learning on your own, and some experiences along the way that are worth sharing. It's good to know that in all cases, you ask the question, would they do it again? They resoundingly say yes, despite perhaps an occasional setback here. And so this is what this next session is going to be all about. Three, in this case, Organic Valley, S.C. Johnson, and Dane County striking out on their own, fueled by the sense of responsibility that Dr. Thompson talked about, and start along the road of energy independence and self-generation, reducing emissions through their own operations. So I'm going to get started with our first speaker, who is Pat Hayes. He's the Senior Director of Global Government Relations at S.C. Johnson in Racine. I had the good fortune of witnessing a wonderful event last month, the dedication of their two wind turbines, which is not the only local clean energy source supplying their facility. Pat joined S.C. Johnson and as Senior Director for Global Government Relations. Prior to S.C. Johnson, Pat spent 21 years with the Procter & Gamble Company, where he served a variety of roles, including governmental relations, environmental safety, regulatory affairs. He has a BS in mechanical engineering and MS in environmental engineering. Please welcome Pat Hayes.
Good morning, and thank you very much for having me. So I'm the new guy at SCJ, so hopefully you'll go easy on me here. I am very pleased to be with you here today. While new to SCJ, I have had a long familiarity with the company and the importance that SCJ has placed on sustainability over the year. And so that's why it's really nice to be here with you today, really to speak about shared values that we all have. Let me begin by telling you a little bit about us. S.C. Johnson is a 126-year-old family-owned and managed company. The company is led by a fifth generation of the Johnson family, our chairman and CEO, Fish Johnson. We have 13,000 employees in operations globally and market-leading products in virtually every country around the world, generating about $9 billion in annual sales. We sell thousands of products every day to consumers around the world, and we're a leader in the majority of the categories in which we do business. Our product mix continually evolves as we innovate and try to bring value to consumers. And you're probably familiar with many of the leading brands that are listed on the slide here, and hopefully you even have a few of these products in your own home. So let's take a look at some of S.C. Johnson's sustainability goals. To be in business for over 126 years, you really have to take a look at the long term. And as part of that, sustainability can't be a temporary thing. It can't be a phase. It can't be a fad. It really has to be an integral part of the company. And for S.C. Johnson over the years, I dare say it really is part of their DNA. So we believe that trying to do what's right for people and the environment in our products and operations now and for generations to come is really the right thing to do. And that simple premise, believe it or not, influences all of our decisions and actions. Well, here are our 5 environmental goals. In order to reduce our carbon footprint, we've set the following business objectives to reach by 2016. The first is decrease our upstream pre-product footprint by 8% over 2012 levels. Second, reduce emissions from all of our operations by 6%, and that's on top of greenhouse reductions from our manufacturing operations of 26% versus the year 2000. Third, increase the use of renewable energy to 44% of the total electricity use worldwide. So that's all facilities, plants and offices, and wind has been and will continue to be a big part of this. And decrease our downstream footprint by an additional 2%. So these are our 2016 goals. Let me take just a couple of minutes and familiarize you with some of our other renewable energy projects. We have 2 cogeneration systems at Waxdale, which is the company's largest manufacturing facility, and it's down in Mount Pleasant outside of Racine. We use waste methane gas from a nearby public landfill and burn clean natural gas. The turbines produce 85% of the facility's electrical usage. We installed the first cogen system in 2003, and it was so successful that in 2004 we decided to build a second unit for Waxdale. Today the turbines significantly reduce our reliance on coal-fired electricity and eliminate about 52,000 tons of greenhouse gas emissions each year. And for perspective, that's like returning about 300 rail cars of coal to the ground or taking 5,000 plus cars off the road annually. In May of 2012, the company launched a new biofuel initiative at our manufacturing facility in Indonesia, using waste husks from rice grains as the fuel source. By consuming rice husks rather than natural gas, the boiler reduces our greenhouse gas emissions by over 7,000 metric tons per year. So good progress. Our first wind turbine project was in the Netherlands in 2009. It now generates 50% of the electrical energy for the facility. You can see it in the left-hand corner there. And in China, several solar projects are helping provide hot water heating for our new facility in Shanghai. One provides hot water for food service and another for our office needs. The solar heated wastewater from the facility's steam piping network also aids in aerosol productions. The Quality Control Lab also uses solar heated water as well. So all in all, this reduces our greenhouse gas emissions by 70,000 metric tons per year. Okay, let's take a look at the new wind turbine facility, the new wind turbine project at our Waxdale facility. Here's a short video showing you the construction.
The thing that I actually like the most about these windmills is that they are incredible visual symbols of what we stand for and who we are as a company. Every time somebody comes into our entrance of this facility, they can't help but get a giant visual reminder of the commitment that we have made as a company to environmental progress. So with that, I am going to officially commission these 2 turbines and flip the switch.
I love those things. Those towers are 280 feet tall, and with the blade extension, it goes up to 15 feet. So very, very impressive. So what do these wind turbines mean for our manufacturing facility? Well, as I mentioned, the Waxdale plant is our largest manufacturing facility in the world. We produce 60 million cases of products each year, including Glade, Windex, Pledge, Scrubbing Bubbles, Shout, Raid, Off, and other products. It's also the largest aerosol product manufacturing facility in the world, producing 430 million aerosol cans per year. These are all now made with clean energy. With the wind turbines, we're now able to generate 100% of our electrical needs on site. The cogen units that I just mentioned are capable of providing 85% of the plant's electrical needs, and these new wind turbines will provide the remaining 15%. And we now can be completely self-reliant and off the grid. In terms of specifics, the wind turbines will generate about 8 million kilowatt hours of electricity annually, enough to power about 700 homes per year. They will eliminate 6,000 metric tons of carbon emissions from Waxdale each year, which is equivalent to about 32 railroad cars of coal. And this is now the largest company-owned wind turbine manufacturing project in the Midwest. All in all, this marks an important step in the company's goal of increasing worldwide energy use to 44% of total electricity by 2016. Challenges. Look, right, these are big honking things, right? and so, not unexpectedly, we faced a number of concerns from our neighbors about the impact that the turbines would have on a variety of things, from noise quality to birds to aircraft. But we want our neighbors in the community to feel as good about this project as we are, and so we spent a lot of time talking to the community. And since the turbines have gone out, and the commissioning was last month, December 18th, we've heard mostly positive comments. In fact, one neighbor said, "Nobody wants to live next to a coal or nuclear power plant. Given a choice, I would rather live near a wind turbine. I applaud S.C. Johnson for their use of clean energy, and I'm proud to have them and their wind turbines as a part of our community." That's what we're aiming for with all of these projects, to be a good and responsible corporate citizens in all the communities that we operate. Last slide. Michael posed the question, would we do this again? Here's our CEO, Chris Johnson. He loves this stuff. He's an engineer and a physicist and has a passion for pushing the boundaries of environmental progress. So the question is a simple one for us. Absolutely, we would do this again. And in fact, we'll continue to look for bigger and better opportunities as we move forward as a company. So I'll leave it at that. Happy to answer questions as we get into the panel.
Our next speaker is Cecil Wright. Cecil's Director of Local Operations and Sustainability at Organic Valley, Walsh. A little bit of background on Cecil. He began developing his philosophies on sustainability, organics, and living green while growing up on his parents' 450-acre beef, sheep, and forest farm in northeast Ohio. Cecil's been a zealous organic consumer for 30 years and has been involved in the organic industry as a business owner for 20 years, and has been Director of Local Operations and Sustainability for Organic Valley for most of the last 15 years. In this capacity, Cecil is leading several initiatives that are near to his own passions and those of the co-op, such as the installation of 2 commercial wind turbines at crop and organic distribution center in Cashley. This project will offset most of the energy usage of all crop-owned facilities. CROP stands for Cooley Region Organic Produce Pool. Cecil graduated from Ohio State University with a BA in Economic Geography and currently resides in Baroka, Wisconsin with his wife and a recently adopted boy. Please welcome Cecil Wright. Greetings, it's great to be here again.
A lot of you are familiar with Organic Valley, so I'm going to try to breeze through it a little bit for some of you that aren't, and we'll just talk a little bit about that. I'm going to try to answer some of the questions and challenges that Michael gave us as far as being able to seed the conversations and questions from you all later. So basically we have over 1,800 farms throughout the United States. We have about 700 employees, and we have hundreds of relationships with independent producers and co-packers across the United States. So we have although we only have 700 employees, we impact a lot of living for a lot of people. So for us, it's a big deal that we are able to impact so many people with organic agriculture. We're in dairy, eggs, soy, juice, produce, beef, and poultry. And we have our own logistics companies, and we've created our own partnerships with different companies and organizations such as Gunderson Lutheran. And so we're developing better partnerships and collaborating with others as we go forward and learn more. This is just the simple mission statement of Organic Valley for our sustainability department. Our mission, when we created it for Organic Valley, had sustainability permeated throughout the whole thing. So we're lucky. From the very beginning, my leadership and our board and our farmers has always supported us having a really strong sustainability program. So these are some of the program goal areas that we have. Not dissimilar to Gunderson Lutheran and SC Johnson. We would like to be energy neutral and independent by 2020. We're not sure what that means totally. There's a few answers that we need to figure out, like, are we willing to have anything that produces carbon? Or are we willing to do renewables that are renewable and that do produce carbon? So we're trying to wrestle with that a little bit, and we haven't quite totally figured it out. Like a lot of other companies, we're trying to get zero waste by 2015. We're really always working on our reporting and our business metrics. It's a big deal for us. We're always trying to catch up with that because our organization has always said, well, we're just going to do it. It's going to be the right thing, and we haven't always tracked it. So we're getting better at doing that. We believe our employees and our farmers are our strongest assets. So we do everything we can to actually stay ahead of them because they're all so knowledgeable and they're all such innovators in their own way that we're always trying to educate and also learn from our employees about sustainability. A big deal for us because of our footprint with our farmers is that we want an on-farm sustainability program that is comprehensive, not about renewable energy, but also about what we bring to the planet as far as benefits for whether it's clean air, whether it's clean water, whatever it is. And we also put a lot of effort into figuring out what it is that organic agriculture can do for the planet. And we do a lot of research around that, a lot of support. This is just basically our Cashley Greens wind farm. You've heard Jeff talk about it. In 2011, we offset 89% of our electrical usage with these turbines, the amount that we own. We own half of that output. Fortunately and unfortunately, we've been growing and we're adding buildings, and so that 89% is just going to go down quite a bit as we continue to add. Organic Valley is going to be $1 billion company this year, which just amazes me that organic agriculture can make that kind of a statement, and we're really excited about that. But on the other hand, there's a lot of things we've got to get better at. So to that point, we don't know where wind energy is going to go. We have a lot of farmers that we want to help get independent. We want to get independent. We want to come up with a good way of doing biofuels. And we feel like that we have a real feed shortage for our farmers. And we have a footprint of how do we work with our farmers and our locals to be able to produce what we call biodiesel or straight vegetable oil from oil seeds. To us, that's something that we're really trying to focus on. We feel like it's one of those areas that doesn't necessarily need government support, and so we're really going to be focusing on that as we go forward. Right now, we have 32% of our fleet is fueled by that. Of course, we have a secondary footprint, which is all of the people we contract with. And someday, we'd like to have a biodiesel pumping station at our facility in Cashton. This is just some pictures of our on-farm biofuels. We have a portable biofuels station that goes out to our farms so they can crush their own oil seeds and create their own straight vegetable oil or turn it into biodiesel. This is just a picture of our, we have about 79 kW of solar electric at our headquarters. We have solar hot water, and we're always looking to add more as we can. We have Vanpools that for our employees, we have 14% of them that are using it. We're in a rural area, so we don't have public transportation, so we're continuing to figure out how to get our employees there and share their rides. We have a strategic energy management plan that we've developed that has lots of arms and legs to it. As we heard earlier, conservation is not sexy, but I think now that we've got our wind turbine project done, we're going to really get back to the conservation and really figure out, we were just driving up today and our staff was talking about that we've got some holes that we need to fill. And so it's an ongoing battle and opportunity. This is just a picture of one of our farmers that installed turbines on their project. It's out of Vermont. We have about 10 farmers that have installed other projects, and we have one of our farmers here today that a lot of you know. We are performing energy audits on our farms regularly. We are working on energy efficiency. We have some 20 solar installs. You know, when you look at the 1,800, that doesn't seem like a lot, but we spent a lot of time getting the system set up to be able to make that happen. So right now we're only offsetting, if you look at the total footprint, 48% of our energy with the wind turbines and our solar and our other projects. And we want to continue to focus on our goal to get us to 2020 to be where we need to go. So Michael asked us some questions, and what were some of the objectives of our project? Really what we wanted to do was fix our cost into the future. We wanted to view it as a hedge, and for us that was important. When we look at our pro forma, we set it at 2.4% of escalating cost over the next 20 years. That was very conservative, and we break, from what we can see, we have a small profit and break even if that happens that way with the price that we have for our PPA. If for some reason it's a 4% escalator over 20 years, we're going to look really smart. If it's 5 or 6, we're going to just be giddy because we'll be making all kinds of money. But you know, over the last, I don't know if it's correct, you guys can tell me, but it's 6% growth of, or 6% increase of cost of electricity over the last 20 or 30 years. I know that it's gone flat now, and I hope that's just an anomaly. For us, it was about creating more independence for our co-op in the community. It just made sense to be involved in this. There's just no way that we did. I mean, we just didn't have to go through a conversation about it. We just needed to have it done. We also didn't want to buy credits. We wanted to just be our own producers. You know, farmers are very tactile. They like to own and touch things and be a part of it, and I think our board was the same way. And our stakeholders expect us from it. And you know, everybody that buys from us, our farmers, our employees, we just couldn't get around not doing it. And then, hello, we all live on this planet. As Jeff was saying earlier, Dr. Thompson, we have an obligation. There's no doubt about it. The greenhouse gas, that we affect other places, the coal, et cetera, et cetera. It just goes on and on. Additional installations. I think what we're going to do is we're going to see how this project goes. As I said earlier, we'd like to see, it's been a steep learning curve for us. We now know more than what we thought we ever would know. As many of you know, with the policies that have been happening at the national level and state level, Clipper, who we bought the turbines from, went out of business. And so they also were the ones that were our O&M providers. And so Wes Slaymaker, who's here, and a lot of my staff, and Gunderson Lutheran, we've got to buckle down we're going to learn a lot more about how we have to run these turbines on our own. So we're looking at third party, and we're looking at doing it ourselves, and so we're trying to figure that out. And so what that means is that we're going to continue to focus on our farms, as I was talking about earlier. We will entertain projects that come into our awareness, and we're going to focus on the biofuel a lot this next year, and an energy efficiency focus. So that kind of gives you a sense of what, when you ask that question, if we do any additional, that kind of expands into a larger conversation. Okay, obstacles and recommendations for policy. The biggest thing for us is that, Colin Weston Pine was our legal entity that helped us with this, and it was just amazing how they took us through the process. But I believe at one point I was stacking up all the agreements and the contracts on my desk, and it was literally a foot high. And so when you think about it, I'm not sure, last count, I think we had 12 agreements, either with Gunderson Lutheran, either with Michaels, who did the construction for us, and 3 or 4 with Clipper, and then we had a PPA agreement. And so I think that was probably the most difficult thing, was to go through that. The agreements in and themselves were not that difficult. It was just just keeping on and doing them. And so it just took us a long time, longer than I would have imagined. Of course, we learned along the way. And in our project, we also had a beta tested. They asked us to consider doing a beta testing of a new model they had. We went down that road, and then we decided not to do it, so it really slowed the process down. We learned a lot, but it was a little frustrating. We would have liked to have got the project going again first. And so, for me, when asked the question about policy, I think it's all about how we can get society as a whole to acknowledge this thing about the hidden costs and the true costs. It amazes me that people, the nimbiness that we have, the ability for people not to think outside of their zip code. And it's really important for us, I think, as we can work on policy at this level, but we somehow have to get people to awareness at a global level, and that's a difficult thing, and it takes a lot of effort. I have a video as well, but it's not working. I'll just flip through. It was a little more racy than yours. Only from the music standpoint, we did a video because the employees that were working on it, Michaels and some others, and Clipper, our photographer said that he did it in honor of them and wanted them to do it, so we let them see it. And so I'm sorry that it's not going to work here, but I'll just. Oh. Got the end. Oops, going the wrong way. Give me a second. These are just a few pictures of our project. It's nothing different than what you've all seen before. I know you're all geeks and you like to look at it like that. Get in close and see those nuts and bolts. And there's the 4 generators. It's a little bit different type of design than some others Clipper had. And that's the cows in the foreground. So look forward to questions later.
Undid all your hard work there. By the way, it was a fairly strong Wisconsin content in those 2 turbines, actually, and U.S. Content overall. Those are American-made turbines that sit on towers that were fabricated in Manitowoc, Bronwyn towers, and Michael's Construction was the general contractor that did the civil work there. So that probably is the highest amount of domestic content of any wind project we have in Wisconsin. Our next final speaker is Dave Merritt from Dane County. Dave is the Director of Policy and Program Development for Dane County's Department of Administration. He coordinated the building of Dane County's Cow Power Project, the state's first community manure digester that began operation in really the first of the year 2011, designed to create renewable energy, green jobs, cleaner lakes and streams. He also directs the county's Clean Lakes Initiative, In a past life, Dave served for 6 years as Executive Director of Wisconsin Citizens Utility Board, and he lives in Madison. Please welcome Dave Merritt.
Thank you so much, Michael. Great to join everyone here this morning. Good morning to you all. You heard County Executive Parisi run through a number of different renewable energy projects ongoing at Dane County. I'd like to focus on our cow power project. You heard Joe mention our work on bio-CNG, transforming as much of our fleet to bio-CNG by 2025 as possible. That program is currently in his new 2013 county budget. You heard this year we will install 100 kW on our new maintenance facility on our airport. It will be the largest municipally owned solar PV system in the state, the largest PV system in MGE service territory. Certainly, he didn't mention a number of other projects, such as our geothermal project that powers our Badger Prairie Healthcare Center just near Verona. Did not mention our ongoing, soon-to-be-released study along with the City of Madison, funded by the City of Madison, a solar PV feasibility study being conducted by Baker Tilly, and very much looking forward to put that Baker Tilly study in all your hands for further work. But we are here in Dane County, the home to about 400 dairy farms and 50,000 dairy cows, which produce not only the milk to support a $550 million dairy industry and 3,000 jobs, but over 2 billion pounds of manure annually. Wonderful Dane County dairy cows create two products in almost miraculous abundance: milk and manure. Dane County is the 23rd largest dairy producing county in the nation, and I suppose the corollary to that is we are the 23rd largest manure producing county in the nation. But that odor that wafts from those 50,000 dairy cows that make up our Dane County dairy herd smells like energy independence to us, green jobs, a strengthened sustainable dairy industry, and clean lakes. Our Dane County Cow Power Project is a victory for not only sustainable agricultural development here in Dane County, but clean lakes for our citizens to enjoy, green energy, and good-paying green jobs. By focusing our efforts to reduce algae-producing phosphorus, creating green electricity, and safeguarding water quality, we believe we're taking significant steps here towards ensuring the future of family dairies and lakes here in Dane County. Yes, as Michael had mentioned and Joe had previously mentioned, we do have the state's first community manure digester producing 2 megawatts, powering about 2,500 homes with green electricity. Alliant Energy is purchasing that electricity 24/7. In addition to renewable energy production, our initiative is one of really just a small number of digesters in the nation slated to remove most of that algae-producing phosphorus from the manure of about 2,500 cows. It's a model we believe that should not only be further replicated here in Wisconsin and the upper Midwest, but throughout the nation. It is the first community digester. It's located in the village of Wanakee in the town of Anna, just about, 15 miles from where we sit here today. Digester construction started in the summer, late in the summer really of 2010. An initial operation, the filling of those digesters with manure, really began just a few months later in December of 2010. The plant was commissioned, began producing electricity now just nearly 2 years ago. You'll see our beautiful Madison Lakes, state capitol in the very far background there, the digester facility pretty much centered here. We have a laser in here, we go. Maybe. The digester complex here, you can see the 3 farms serving the digester complex located here in the center. 2 larger farms here on the right, and the 1 smaller farm on the left. We have Just a further overview of the project. We have about 80,000 gallons of manure being piped underground every day into that facility. But why a manure digester? How did Dane County get into the manure digester business? The story really began back in 2005. A winter liquid manure spill caused several fish kills, dumped phosphorus into Lake Mendota, prompting then County Executive Kathleen Falk to call for a ban of liquid manure spreading and the creation of the Manure Management Task Force. It was really that task force of county board supervisors, farmers, utilities, environmental organizations that resulted in the passage really of the first local ordinance in Wisconsin regulating the manure spreading of the winter spreading of manure. Put $100,000 the county did towards a feasibility study for the construction of a manure digester. Was determined out of that manure management task force that in fact was digester technology as a significant tool, if you will, to get our hands on all that manure to hopefully solve a Dane County lakes problem. So you can see we're in the digester business for clean lakes reasons. It certainly produces 2 megawatts of energy. That 2 megawatts of energy sold every day to Alliant Energy really helps pay the bills, if you will, for Clear Horizons, the owner-operator of that facility. We received a number of bids. To build that facility, it was our decision, and you can see here from this map, this is a phosphorus target area map. And whoa, here, let's go back. Not burning our eyes too quickly. It was the digester, we're located here on the shores of Lake Mendota. The digester up here in the town of Vienna. You can see that dark spot meeting some high phosphorus levels. And our second digester that Jeff Thompson had mentioned that we are partnering with Gunderson Lutheran on is located just in this area here west of Middleton in the town of Springfield. But we targeted high phosphorus levels. It's where a lot of the cows are. There's a lot of that runoff that runs into our lakes, causing that algae problem for those who live here in Dane County get to see every summer. But we had 3 major goals here, 3 project objectives: water quality protection, agricultural viability and sustainability, and economic feasibility. We chose Clear Horizons out of an RFP process to build this. We had thought about owning it. We decided not to. It's Clear Horizons at the end of the day, and I think we have the good folks from Clear Horizons here in the room this morning. Project development began back in the fall of 2009, talking to farmers, Clear Horizons, certainly working with State of Wisconsin and Alliant Energy. Just in terms of digester operation, we got 2,500 cows here from those 3 farms I mentioned, supplying about 80,000 gallons of manure a day. Each tank that you saw there holds 1.25 million gallons of manure. Once inside those tanks, of course, manure, like all other organic materials, decomposes in the absence of oxygen, breaks down into a useful gas, of course, methane, and other byproducts. And of course, it's that methane then that gets sent through a digester that creates enough green electricity to power about 2,500 homes. And I think it's important to note here that it's not just manure in those tanks. In fact, 10 to 15% of the digestate in those 3 tanks is solid waste or fats, oils, and greases. At the end of the day, really, to get that increased methane production is why we use the high energy food waste in the digester, producing those 2 megawatts of power. If it was just manure producing methane, we'd have about a 1 megawatt digester. Not enough electricity to, in fact, cash flow the project. So we have tanker trucks pulling into that digester every day with fats, oils, and greases in order to produce that type of 2 megawatt production, in order to produce enough power that Alliant Energy buys at about 9.25 cents a kilowatt hour as the buyback rate for that Wanakee digester. And I think the Wanakee digester is a good example of what it takes in terms of buyback rates. It takes at least 9 cents a kilowatt hour in order to cash flow a digester if you're talking about third-party ownership. And that was a requirement certainly for Clear Horizons going in. It was at the time that the Line Energy buyback rate was available, and we have made very good use of that buyback rate. Moving on. Those of you who have been out to our digester, and we welcome, we do tours all the time out there. If you'd like to get out there, feel free to give me a buzz. But the digester business is certainly a complex one. We have 15-year Clear Horizons, that's 15-year manure contracts. With the 3 farms, contracts, of course, with the utility. We have contracts with the state of Wisconsin, and it was a $6.6 million grant we had received from the state of Wisconsin to build 2 manure digester projects, and it was $3.3 million of a Dane County grant we had previously received from the state of Wisconsin that went into the building of a $12 million manure digester project. Just to mention some of the other attributes of our digester project. I've mentioned phosphorus to you. Second, from a farming perspective, the digester will allow farmers to better address nutrient management issues. Third, certainly eliminates nuisance odors. The village of Wanakee out there continues to expand towards the dairies. Controlling those nuisance odors is incredibly important. I've mentioned the 2 megawatts of power currently being produced at the project. And because of the methane released by untreated manure, digesters are also recognized for their contribution in controlling greenhouse gases. The potential methane emission reduction from eliminating long-term lagoon storage of the manure is estimated at 29,000 metric tons per year of equivalent CO2 at the Wanakee digester. This is equivalent to the CO2 emissions from driving approximately 75 million miles a year. In addition to that 29,000 metric ton reduction currently occurring out there at Wanakee, of course, we're also replacing coal-fired electricity. The digester displaces another 16,000 tons of carbon dioxide emissions. And finally, a 6th added advantage is we had 60 subcontractors, 230 workers building that first cow power project. We're talking green energy jobs, earning family supporting wages. Finally, just a quick mention of our second digester, certainly on the way. Jeff Thompson mentioned the current relationship we have with Gunderson Lutheran, a tremendous partnership. We welcome Gunderson Lutheran to the manure business. An interesting symbiotic relationship almost. I mean, Jeff, you're after the 2 megawatts to meet your sustainability goals of offsetting fossil fuel use by the year 2014. We got into the digester business for really water quality, agricultural sustainability reasons. And it's that symbiotic relationship that has gone on for well over a year now. We plan to break ground in that digester in May of this year. We still have a whole lot of permitting yet to be done, from the town of Springfield to Dane County to the DNR. That's all going to frankly happen in the next 4 or 5 months. Just one final example. MGE is going to be purchasing from that facility. That's an MGE service territory project. One quick example on why buyback rates are so important. As I mentioned, the line is buying the electricity off of the Wanakee project about an average of 9 1/4 cents. When we went to MG&E and asked for a buyback rate on this second project, their tariff is currently only at 6 cents for this project, requiring 9 cents. What do you do? Under an agreement we now have with MG&E, we transferred 1.5 megawatts off a contract, a 10 megawatt contract we have with them on our Rotafeld landfill. Our Rotafeld landfill is currently producing about 6 megawatts of electricity off that landfill. MG&E pays us about 10.5 cents, now up to 11, I think, Jeff. Those types of buyback rates, we were very fortunate in signing that contract with MG&E a good 4 years ago. There is surplus on that contract, and through an agreement we have with MG&E, we are literally transferring or donating, if you will, 1.5 megawatts of that 11 cent per kilowatt hour buyback rate to that project in order to get, over the lifetime of that project, at least the first 15 years, a 9 cent kilowatt hour average rate. So As tariffs, renewable tariffs have been closed here in the state, certainly down from rates, as high as 9 cents in the past. You can understand for digester projects to move forward, we must continue the discussion of adequate buyback rates here in Wisconsin. To keep us on time here, let me just say that, and we think these digester projects represent the strong relationship we have with farm families, certainly here in Dane County, to keep our lakes, clean, and the shared value we place on making sure our ag industry thrives for generations to come. Each project is a testament, I think, to our county's commitment to clean lakes, clean energy, green jobs, and using partnerships and innovative partnerships like we now have with Gunderson Lutheran to accomplish our goals. Just to run through some of the final slides and just to point out, you can see the 2 generators there in the background, each in those particular boxes, that if you went out there today is yes producing 2 megawatts of green electricity. Finally, a word. I'll conclude by mentioning, Joe had brought up the Epic Wind project out there in the town of Springfield. It's Dane County's first wind farm. Dane County's happy to be now on the wind map, if you will. It is the 9th largest operating wind farm in the state. Importantly, the towers and turbines can be seen from the state capitol building. I live over actually if you walk the shoreline here and walk to James Madison or Tenney Park, for those of you who live here in Madison, you can not today, foggy out there, you can see those 6 wind turbines. Importantly, hopefully seeing those wind turbines from the state capitol will be a constant and if not symbolic reminder to our elected state officials to pass important legislation such as clean energy choice and a higher renewable portfolio standard. The decisions we make today to make our state and communities more energy independent will most certainly shape the world of future generations. Let's you and I seize the opportunity and make sure our children and grandchildren have a sustainable future and a new energy economy they certainly deserve. Again, thanks to everyone in the room for all your hard work to ensure that Wisconsin will continue to be a leader in renewable energy development.